Ginyu Force, assemble! Hey guys, check it out. We've got 2.5 asses in an awesome box right here. The latest and greatest in the line of S.H Figuarts for Dragonballz has come out in Japan, and that is Burter Guldo. This is the final release for the Ginyu Force, so pretty stoked to have these. Going to look awesome, all assembled, lined up in their goofy poses, which I'll take some photos of and chuck at the end of this video, so be sure to stay around to the end and check that out. And if you like this video, please do like and subscribe. Anyway, before we jump in and popping this guy open, let's have a quick look at the box. So not really too much to see, to be honest. Same as usual, but he is huge. This is the Saiyan Res on Earth Goku box for a comparison. Just look at that. Pales in comparison. Anyway, so for the release this time, we've got the red Toei sticker for the Japan release. And since it's Tamashii web exclusive, we've got the Tamashii logo on the bottom as well. And if you're new to Figuarts, this is the first time checking out a video for one, or if you've never seen one in real life, do make sure they have the Tamashii seal of quality sticker on them. The older figures don't have, but all the releases of the last year or so do. That's one way to make sure you do have a legit figure. On the back, we've just got the basic information again of the figure, the different poses that Burter can do, and the two that Guldo can do as well. So nothing too special about it this time, just all very standard, but it does look really good with them on the front in their poses. Okay, so let's take him out of the box and get a close look at what he comes with. Okay, let's check out the accessories that he comes with. So he's got the extra head for Burter with the open screaming mouth, the 6-star Namek Dragon Ball. Then we've got Guldo with his movable head, and the arms which pop off to change with the two below here. And then on the right hand side, we've got the 1, 2, 3 different pairs of hands. So we've got the palms completely flat, kind of got the peg holes on the opposite side so you can get those different angles, and the kind of gripping hands here so you can hold onto the Dragon Ball and so forth. And obviously in the middle here we've got Burter himself. On the back, it might be a bit hard to see, but there is a clip for a stand. He doesn't come with a stand, but he does come with a clip needed to go around his waist there, since he's obviously quite a bit bigger than most figures. So I've got him out of the packaging now, and we're going to have a look at the articulation and the detail of these figures. I figured let's start with the smallest guy first, Guldo. And yeah, he looks absolutely amazing. He looks really good, but it's just such a disappointment. They really, mistakes were made. He should have been a separate release and articulated. There's no reason why that they shouldn't have done that when third parties do. And I guess this is the very first time they've really been wanting to buy a third party figure. But yeah, anyway, enough about that. Let's focus on this guy. So the detail on his face looks awesome. His head can swivel right around, so you can get him looking in different directions with his 4 eyes, which is really cool. And his legs are in a fixed position, and he kind of is a little bit hard to balance at times if you're not on a flat surface. But on his head he looks cool. He's got like the little bit scaly, froggy like dimples on his skin, which is pretty cool. And his armor looks really nice as well. For the arms, these just pop off. So they've got little bit pegs. This is, if you've ever had a gacha figure before, it's basically just a big gacha figure. And you've got the 2 arms here, and each side has a different shape, so you can't mix it up. There we go, we've got his arms in there, and that is his second pose. Again, he can look to the left, look to the right, and that's all he can do. So yeah, not much else to say really about him. Let's chuck him to the side and look at the main guy. Okay, so we've got the big boy out now, and we'll check out his articulation and get a bit of a closer look at his detailing as well. Starting off with the arm at the top, you'll notice that it's got a similar design to Jace, so it doesn't have that little bitty tiny peg and hole on the shoulder there, which is great, which means it doesn't come off easy. It's good, solid. That's how they should all be. Anyway, for his chest movement there, he's got pretty decent, eh? Can get up Got an ab crunch coming down. And great thing about this guy is the armour here isn't painted, so you don't have to worry about chipping like Raditz. Let's pop these shoulder pads up and the shoulders in here. So these swivel around quite far actually, so you can get him into a nice pose where his arm can swivel up and around. And the joints on this guy so far feel really nice. There hasn't been anything too stiff or the opposite of being way too loose. Everything kind of moves, yeah, as it should, which is fantastic, since quite a few of the figures recently have been a bit tight out of a box. And now onto the legs. So he's got the full-on splits right there. Kind of reminds me of the new Piccolo actually, in terms of the range of motion he's got. Okay, and you can swivel everything right around nicely. If you've got any of these recent figures, to be honest, there isn't too much different here. But he does have a nice range of articulation, so you should be able to get him into some awesome poses. Obviously, since the legs are pretty chunky, it is a little bit more strict than what some figures can be, but the joints blend in really well with the rest of the figure, which is great. And it seems like everything's all the same material as well, so you don't have that weird super shiny kneecap on him at all, which is great. For his feet, decent range of motion in there. So I've got the second head for Burter here. The detailing is really cool. Obviously his eyes are straight red, so you don't get too much of a detail in there, but his mouth looks cool with his teeth and the sort of his tongue in there as well, so you get nice shadows, so it really stands out really well. And on to the left side of his head here, you can see the peg where the scouter goes on. So you pop the scouter off the head that's on him already out of a box, and you can just slot it onto this guy here. But the ribs all along his head looks really cool, blends in nicely, and overall I think the sculpting on his head is really good. It looks really nice. Let's switch it out with one on his body. So this is one on his body. You can see he's kind of got that nice little smirking face there. The head comes off pretty well, and then we've just got a nice big ball joint peg on the back here. Okay, so here is his screaming head with a scouter on his body, and that looks really cool. The head is a little bit hard to pop on compared to some figures, but overall the head and neck joint is really sturdy, so it's not too bad. So yeah, it feels really nice to move his head up and down. It's not loose at all and just holds the position lovely. The scouter, you just grab it and it pops right off, and just line it up with the peg hole, and you can just slot it on. Okay, so now that we've seen how easy it is to pop the heads on and off, let's check out the hands. For these ones here, if you're new to changing hands on these figures, just kind of grab the wrist and the hand and just give it a little wiggle, and it should just pop right off. Okay, so the peg on this figure for the wrist is a little bit different to other figures. I think it's just due to the size of them. It's got a very big sturdy peg, which is great. So as long as you pull and push the hands on and off, following the direction of the peg, you should have no problems with these ones breaking. Just got the extra hand here that we're going to chuck on. It's one that you can hold a ball. So let's line it up, just give it a bit of a wiggle, and it should just pop on. This is the 6-star ball. Looks fantastic, just like all the other Namek balls that have come before it. So yeah, that covers all the accessories and his articulation for Burter. The next thing I want to do is just do a little bit of a size comparison to some other figures, and then we can get into final thoughts. Okay, so we've got our trusty Saiyan Raiders on Earth Goku, we've got Raccoon, the other Ginyu Force member, and Burter himself in the back here for a size comparison. So as you can see, Goku looks tiny compared to Raccoon and Burter. I feel like the scaling was not 100% accurate, I'd say, to the show. The sizing of the characters often do vary quite a bit in the show, and especially in the manga. But in terms of figures, I feel like these scale up really well. They look good together. I feel like if these guys were kind of any bigger, it might be a little bit odd. But yeah, so Goku's head basically just goes up to the chest of Burter on the back there, and they're just a little bit higher on Raccoon. Let's give a closer look of these two first. So yeah, these two next to each other looks really good. Burter definitely towers over Goku. But I guess a better comparison is with Burter versus Raccoon, where I feel like the size difference and the difference in scaling is quite noticeable. I feel like Burter should definitely be quite a bit bigger than Raccoon, maybe about here. But I guess it would have driven the price up quite a bit. But personally, I would have preferred to have Burter by himself without Guldo, just to get that extra height. He would have looked absolutely menacing if he was that slightly bit bigger. But in saying that, they do look awesome together. Obviously Raccoon is a massive tank of a character, so he's got a little more bulk to him compared to Burter, who has kind of a more skinny legs. But yeah, overall, yeah, I don't really have too much of my complaints with this scaling and size. I know there have been quite a few people complaining about him being maybe a bit too small, or just the lineup of all the Ginyu Force, the sizing is a little bit off on kind of all of them. But overall, once they're in your shelf, on your display, these are just going to look awesome anyway. So that's just a bit of a tiny small gripe, I guess, is the size of Burter. A little bit bigger would have been perfect. While talking about sizing, we should get this little guy in as well. I guess we can't completely forget about him, but these two next to each other, they do look awesome. I feel like the sizing of Guldo is really good, and even at the size, I don't see why they couldn't have had him articulated. Even if it's just a bit more of a basic articulation in his legs, with the removable changeable arms, I would have been happy with that. Disappointing. Okay, so that almost brings us to the end of the video, but before we finish up, we need to go over the final thoughts and basically pros and cons. The pros for Guldo at first, yeah, he just looks awesome, his sculpt's really cool. The poses that he can do, he does look great, and he does fit in with the rest of the Ginyu Force when you do that iconic group pose. And the fact that his head does articulate is nice. It's a lot better than just being a straight up 100% statue. The cons, well, we all know that he was half-assed. Disappointment. Yeah, I know, still exasperating. Why? He should have been articulated. Should have been a separate figure, fully articulated, come with his, I know, a rock, tree. He would have been an absolute fantastic release, and it would have really rounded out the whole group. Anyway, despite all that, he is still cool. I do like him, and he will look awesome on shelf with the rest of the figures. Actually, one other con, he is kind of a bit of a pain to pose. His balance is a little bit off. So if you get it right and it's flat, he's fine. Otherwise, yeah, he tumbles about like a little wee, yeah. Let's go on to the main man himself, what this main figure release is about, and that's Burter. And yeah, he's awesome. I've got no complaints, to be honest. He's just a solid figure. The only real con I can really think of is that he doesn't come with a full stand. He's only got the clip. For those that don't have stands, it would have been nice just to have it included. It would have been a nice simple thing to add. But otherwise, yeah, he's an awesome figure. He's really good, feels solid, easy to pose, all his joints move well, the sculpting is lovely on his face, and yeah, the other small con would be maybe a little bit on the small side. If he was bigger, he would have been just that much better, I reckon. And it would have been quite cool to get some accessories as well. This guy, I guess his main accessory is Guldo, and well, yeah. So this wraps up this video. Thank you very much for watching, and yeah, enjoy the images at the end. Cheers!